Hi everyone! This is Coach Ange from the Brighter Side and I'm back with another episode of the series Invest Tanong. Last week, napag-usapan natin yung readiness mo to invest. I put out 4 questions there and you needed to answer yes first before you start investing. I attached the link here of the SAD podcast para sa mga nakamiss ng episode na yon. Now, I understand that some of you here answered no dun sa mga first few questions pa lang ng podcast last week. That's why I made this episode entirely for you to help you out and turn your no's into yeses. Before we start, I'd like you to bear in mind that savings is different from investment. This might be obvious to some pero I still see a few people na hindi alam to. In terms of purpose kasi, pag sinabing savings, yan yung pagsaset aside mo ng pera mo para gamitin for future purchases instead of using it immediately. On the other hand, ang investment ay iniipon mo with the aim to make your money grow. Meron pang ibang cases na magkaiba sila in terms of risk naman, returns, and liquidity. I'll just post tomorrow an infographic which explains the differences of the two. Now back to the main topic today. Bakit nga ba tayo nahihirapang mag-ipon? First, we have to ask ourselves, what's our biggest why? Bakit ba tayo nag-ipon in the first place? Is it to save up for your dream vacation? To be protected by sudden income loss? Or buying a new phone? I could go on, but point is, what's the real reason why you're doing it? Think about it for a minute. Ask yourself first, then pag alam mo na, I suggest na isulat mo yon. Then paste it somewhere na you can see it every day para nare-remind ka na oo nga pala, may pinag-iipunan ako. Maganda yung alam mo kung anong pinag-iipunan mo para mas ma-motivate ka palalo. Now, hindi natatapos dyan ang lahat. Siyempre, mahirap naman yung puro ka lang daydream or plano sa mga bagay na gusto mong makuha. It's not enough to know your biggest why kasi at the end of the day, we need to take action. Ano-anong mga yon? I asked earlier sa my day kung paano ba kayo usually mag-compute ng finances nyo. Majority of you here answered the first option which is income minus expenses. Did you know na a better way to manage your finances is to compute it this way? Income minus savings. Bakit? Pag income minus expenses kasi gagamitin nating equation, magde-depend savings natin dun sa matitira. Tama? E paano pag walang natira? Pag yung income minus savings naman gawin, nagiging fixed yung amount na gusto nating ipunin. Mas nagiging intentional tayo sa pag-iipon. I implore you to try this equation for yourself, and if it works out for you, let me know. Another tip I could give you to manage your finances well is to have a budget tracker or listahan kung saan napupunta pera mo. If ikaw yung tipo na bet gumamit ng mga apps, then feel free to do so. Marami namang mga free apps online suited for this purpose. But if you're like me na mahilig magsulat sa papel, then you can do it as well, whatever works for you. Now, bakit to importante? Pag di kasi natin nililista kung saan napupunta at kung saan natin nakukuha ang pera natin, di natin malalaman kung, una, magkano ba dapat i-allocate nating funds for savings? Pangalawa, gaano katagal natin kailangan magtabi para ma-reach natin ang ating desired savings amount? Pangatlo, paano mapapabilis ang pag-iipon natin? Pang-apat, need ba natin magbawas ng gastusin? Or need na natin maghanap ng additional source of income? These questions can only be answered if you start documenting your finances now. Pag nalista mo na lahat, the next thing you need to do is to categorize your expenses. Usually, 2 categories ang tinitingnan, either fixed or variable. Yung fixed, yun yung mga gastos mo na hindi naman nagbabago monthly like yung rent, wifi, insurance, etc. Yung variable naman, yan yung mga paiba-iba ang binabayaran mo monthly, like groceries, toiletries, and utilities to name some. Again, bakit to importante? Kasi if you need to make adjustments, madali na lang for you to know which from these expenses ka magbabawas. Most of the time, sa variable expenses tayo nag-a-adjust kasi nga, yun naman yung paiba-iba every month. Pwedeng, instead of 2,000 ang budget mo dati sa groceries, gawin mo na lang munang 1,500 next month para yung 500 pang add mo sa savings. Mga ganon. Those 3 tips I mentioned could help you save a whole lot easier than before. But here are additional reminders that might help. Number 1, be consistent. Huwag kang intro girl or intro boy na sa umpisa lang magaling at masipag. Do it religiously para naman ma-achieve mo talaga yung gusto mong goal. Number 2, stick to your budget. If mahilig ka mag-shopping, I suggest na mag-alat ka ng portion ng budget mo for that type of expense. Then see to it na di ka lalagpas sa sinet mo na amount. Number 3, evangelize what you're doing. Sabihan mo kaibigan mo or partner mo or even family mo na may pinag-iipunan ka para every time natatempt ka gumastos, may magpapaalala sa'yo sa goal mo which is ang makaipon. Lastly, believe in yourself that you can do it. Law of attraction lang yan. Kung iisipin mo lagi na makukuha mo ang isang bagay, it's highly likely na makuha mo talaga yon. Of course, kung sasabayan mo rin ang gawa. And that's it. I hope may nakuha ulit kayo from this podcast. Like I always say, if you have more questions regarding financial planning, don't hesitate to PM me or you could comment it down below. Next week, about insurance naman ang pag-uusapan natin, so for those of you who are interested with that, just stick around. Since this topic is very broad, I will cut this into parts para hindi ganun kabigat or di kayo ma-overwhelm sa mga matututunan nyo. Well, that's all for today. Once again, this is Coach Ange who believes na you are capable of having a secured, brighter, and healthier life. Hope to see you again next Wednesday. Bella ciao!